Hello Runescape, Lumisit here with a new video on how is everyone doing. During the years of Runescape, several updates have been planned out, some even announced but was never actually released. Some of these updates are today forgotten while others are still highly anticipated but is likely to never see the light of day. And with this I have collected 10 updates that never happened. Let's get into this. Number 10. Fort Grimwold. In 2002, Jagex released a list of members features that players will be able to access if they became a member in the game. One of these features included the questing area of Fort Grimwold. A few years later, it was found that the Keep Lefay was the new name of what was supposed to be Fort Grimwold, but personally I'm not so sure. See, the other places mentioned in this members features post was places like Entrana and Zanaris, which then would make it weird to list a small put to the side kind of castle, so maybe there really was something more to it. Number 9. Sebastian No. Being a developer must be a pain sometimes. Imagine you're spending a ton of time thinking out cool ways to defeat bots in the game. You get your idea approved, you spend some weeks developing it, designing it, coding it and testing it out for bugs. It's all ready to be released, but then it gets cancelled. And that is pretty much what happened to this random event. Being a random event about a speedy gnome which would kidnap you and make you race him in an agility course, this one was cancelled after being announced in a behind the scenes article, because Jagex realized it was repetitive and would be easy to avoid for bot makers, making it completely useless. It's kinda weird that no one realized earlier. Number 8. The Underwater City. In the 24th issue of the Runescape God Letters, Gothics writes about a city beneath the waves, suggesting an existing underwater city. This instantly became a big thing where players were expecting to be able to visit a city under the water for years. At some point people thought they were able to see it from Commander Ziliana's chamber, until it was announced that what they saw was an unreleased underwater passage to Zamrock's fortress that was also never properly released. Though Jagex now have added a warning to the God Letters saying the information there is not actually real. It was hinted in 2012 during a livestream that the Pirate Quest series may involve an underwater city. Number 7. Voice chat. Though this was never really an announced update, it did trick players for a few years into believing Jagex was releasing a voice chat system to the game, which would allow players to talk to each other by voice. This was started when Jagex released a poll asking about the interest in a voice chat, and the majority of the voters said it was something they used frequently. Players then suspected Jagex to release such a system, but that never happened. Number 6. Wilderness Tag. Announced to be an update in the behind the scenes of April 2006, Wilderness Tag was going to be a minigame where you run around to pillars in the wilderness, tag them, and move on to the next one where, if you survive while tagging them, you would receive a big XP reward in the combat skill of your choice. It was announced that the update was put on hold and it was never really heard of again. However, with the release of the Wilderness Beacons from All Fired Up, Jagex said that this was inspired from the Wilderness Tag minigame and that the minigame is likely to never be released due to how similar All Fired Up works. Number 5. Mammoths. These were announced to be released in April 2004 together with a large frozen land that was going to include penguins, polar bears and these mammoths. Everything was released over time as well, but no one saw anything to the mammoths. In 2008, a guaranteed content poll was released where you could vote to get the mammoths as a summoning familiar, but the Phoenix won this poll instead. Since then, the mammoths have only been released to old school RuneScape. Number 4. Lizardmen. In the same behind the scenes where the mammoths was announced, these creatures were listed as an upcoming update, though they never were released. A model existed of them showing how they would look, and in recent days these were the inspiration for the Illuyanka, also known as the Dragon Riders, featuring in the one-of-a-kind quest. Number 3. Tomb Raider. Being a quest announced in 2010 together with the release of the Signature Heroes, this quest was going to feature Sir Yvain, currently known as Sir Owen, where you had to break him out of prison. It was in development for a while until it was put on hold for being too similar to the Void series, which was released around the same time. A few months later, Modmark said the quest was cancelled. Number 2. The Church of You. Announced at RuneFest 3, the Church of You were going to be a new form of religion in the game, where the NPCs would start worshipping you as the player for doing all kinds of amazing things to save Gielinor. A couple of years later and the church has still not been released. Number 1. Fossil Island. Previously known as Cutest Island, this island has been talked about in the game for several years. Being a reward from the Varrock Museum, you will be able to travel to the island once the boat at the dig site has been finished. However, they've been building it for years. The island is a project of Mod Morris and is said to include the Dragonkin that lives on it, However, when it's actually going to be released, no one really knows. Well guys, that is it for this time. Let me know in the comment section below what you thought. My name is Will Miss It, and I'll see you guys later.